This final video for our introductory section to the course is going to act as a segue from the overview of what is economics, where microeconomics and macroeconomics fit into it, different approaches to the economy, and so on, to the very first unit we are going to do, which is going to be called the production possibilities frontier, also abbreviated as the PPF. Before we go further on the PPF, it's just worth pointing out something to you. Different fields have different genres and different ways of expressing themselves and telling their stories. Think of graphic artists or think of comic books. You tell the story, and if you want to be someone who reads comics, you need to understand or learn the genre. You learn that, okay, if the guy's got the cape and that S, that means he's the hero Superman. Or if those ears are there on the mask, then he is Batman. And then you're going to learn about how when they say bam and boom, and you're going to learn that what that means and so on. So you read a comic book start to end. If you're an English lit student, you learn about poems. As one genre, you learn about the novel, and so on. Economists have a genre too. We are very visual. We are visual because we like graphs. We also do equations and data. Many of us are very visual. We start with graphs, which are pictorial representations for us, pictures of what's going on. So it's like a video. So the first thing to remember about a graph is it's a visual pictorial representation. So you're going to have to learn all the conventions of how to interpret the graph, because it's just like a comic book. You can't figure out what was happening in the comic by just going to the last page. You have to go from page 1 to the end. So the second element of learning the conventions is never look at the final product and just learn it. Build the graph. The graph is a story. It takes you through steps and stages. So you have one line, and then you shift it and you have another line. That's a bit like in a comic. You know, first the hero appears, then the villain appears, then the sidekick appears. You know, graphs are built to tell a story. So to learn a graph, always learn how to tell the story. And we're going to use graphs a lot, and the production possibilities frontier is our very first graph. The production possibilities frontier is a visual representation of the context. The environment, the options. That's why I call it possibilities. What are your options? So the production possibilities frontier gives you the context or options available. What's possible to a society which is trying to answer these questions of, given resources, and technology, how do I decide what, how, and for whom to produce? So We're going to graph this. What I want you to understand is just because it's a graph, it isn't telling you how the society made the decision. It's simply telling you what options are available to the society. Lots of other things, values, decision-making processes, institutions, my theory of how the society made its decisions, all of that will then determine where the society is among its options. Right? So it's very important to remember, just because it's a graph or a picture, it isn't actually an explanation, because it hasn't told us where the society is going to end up among all these options. It's just our stage. So think of it like, if we are visual storytellers, if you're doing theater, if you're doing video, first thing you do is you set your stage visually. That's the PPF. Only after that do the actors show up into the set, and then that's going to tell us where they end up on that stage, what decisions they make, what they do with it. So keep that in mind as we go forward, because sometimes it's hard to realize the PPF is not telling you where the society is, it's just telling you what its options are.